In this session, you'll undertake an especially interesting and rewarding task. Using the powers of your mind that you've been developing throughout this program, you'll now create your own mental laboratory, an ideal inner space to which you can return whenever you want to do intuitive or clairvoyant work. After you've created your laboratory, you'll learn how you can use it as a setting for healing others and for the relief of their pain. Here once again is Dr. Bob Stone.
In the outer physical world, the objective world, you have specific places for your various activities, a kitchen, a dining room, an office, and so forth. Things get done much more efficiently when physical space is organized like this. So it makes sense that having a special place in the subjective, inner world will allow you to do creative work more effectively too. This is what you are going to construct for yourself in the next few minutes. In other words, you're going to create a mental laboratory. Not only that, but you are going to invite expert counselors into your laboratory to assist you with whatever task you're engaged in. The mental laboratory is where you'll really be able to control and use your mind's genius potential. The mental laboratory gives you a method of functioning within the subjective dimension that enables you to create anything you desire so that it can be manifest in the outer physical dimension. In other words, what you do in your mental laboratory can translate into positive changes in your work, your health, and your relationships with friends and family. Jose Silva originated the concept of creating a special interior space for doing subjective work during the early stages of his research when he was working with children to develop their clairvoyant potential. The way it came about is very interesting. Jose found that the children sometimes felt disoriented when they were at a level of deep relaxation. As a result, Jose realized that people would function more comfortably at the subjective dimension if they visualized or imagined an environment that was similar to the physical world. This was how the idea for the laboratory was born, to be located wherever you want, furnished however you like, and completed with whatever medications and instruments you need to solve all problems. The idea for inviting counselors into the mental lab came about in the same way. Jose was working with his daughter Margarita, who at that time was about 7 years old. She had gone to her alpha level and was engaged in using her clairvoyant powers to help a woman who was ill and in a hospital. Suddenly, Margarita seemed to become frightened, and when Jose asked what was the matter, Margarita said, "It's the woman in the hospital. Her eyes are so big they scare me." By this point in his work, Jose knew how well the subjective level responds to commands that are linked to an objective physical action. He told Margarita to snap the fingers of her left hand, and that this would bring the sick woman's eyes back to normal size. Margarita snapped her fingers, and the result was as Jose said. Later, Jose thought about this episode. What if Margarita had gone to her level without him being present and had become frightened? He decided to have his children create adults who could be with them in their mental laboratories, not just as comforting presences, but as advisors and counselors. Soon each of Jose's children had created an advisor to help in their psychic work. The children used their advisor to help them solve the health problems or other human problems that they were given. Jose was quite happy. He said to one of his boys, "Ask your counselor what he thinks of my idea." Back came the answer, "He says, what makes you think it was your idea in the first place?" Not exactly a child's response. But a further refinement was still needed. One day Margarita asked her male advisor about a female problem, but the male advisor was too embarrassed to help. After that, Jose had his children create a second counselor of the opposite sex. You will be choosing your own counselor to invite into your mental laboratory. A male counselor can help you with problems involving males. A female counselor can help you with problems involving females. Your laboratory will be a very personal place, so we'll not be doing a conditioning exercise to program it for you. It's important, though, that when you go to your alpha level by the standard 3-to-1 method, you then add an extra 10-to-1 countdown to take you to a still deeper level, the creative level. After this extra 10-to-1 countdown, you are at a deeper level of mind, and this is where the fun begins. You can now begin imagining exactly what your mental laboratory is like. Creating your laboratory is just like building your dream house would be in the physical world, except that it's a lot easier. The first step is to decide where it should be located. It can be anywhere, on your roof, in your attic, in your own backyard. You can even build your laboratory in your neighbor's backyard, and he won't mind at all. It can be on a hillside, in a tree, or on a beach. You decide. Once you've settled on a location, the next step is to create a room, your ideal room. Once again, it's a good idea to do this step by step, just as if you were constructing a room in the physical world. But while it might take weeks in the physical world, it's going to take you only seconds. Start out with 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. Now paint the walls any color you want, or use wallpaper or tiling or wood paneling. You can even create an oak-paneled room with oil paintings on the walls. You can install bookshelves and cabinets if you like. The idea is to make a room you've always wanted, a room you'll enjoy going to every day. Determine which is the south wall of your laboratory and leave that wall blank. You'll need a desk and a chair. You can design all the furniture yourself if you like. In seconds, there they are. Position the desk and chair so you can sit at the desk and be facing the south wall. You'll also need a clock and a perpetual calendar. Create a clock and put it anywhere you wish. Then create a calendar that contains all dates, past, present, and future. Again, put it anywhere you wish in your laboratory. You might want to have a panel of buttons and switches set in one of the armrests of your chair. They will help you regulate a number of things for your convenience and comfort. Every laboratory needs filing cabinets, but yours are special. You have one that contains all the information there is now or ever will be for men, and another just like it for women. All you have to do is know it's there, and it will be there. The filing cabinets can be operated automatically, so that at the touch of a button, the documents you're seeking will appear on the desk in front of you. Now there are just a couple of other things. You should equip your lab with all the tools that ever existed or ever will exist, up to and including the most powerful supercomputer, plus all the chemicals and medications that ever existed or will exist. If there are some miracle drugs that don't yet exist in the physical world, but that should exist, be sure to put those in your lab too. Things happen instantly at this level, so it won't take you much time to create your mental laboratory. When you're satisfied that you've got the perfect setting in which to do intuitive work, healing work, and psychic work to help make this a better world to live in, end your session by counting up from 1 to 10 and then from 1 to 5. Later that day, or as soon as it's convenient, go back and revisit your laboratory. Don't forget to do the extra 10-to-1 countdown after you've gone to your alpha level by the 3-to-1 method. As you re-enter your laboratory, check out the room, the chair, the desk, the clock, the calendar. It's all there just the way you left it. Check out the filing cabinets, the tools and equipment, the chemicals and medications. If you forgot anything for your comfort or convenience, now's the time to put it in. Now, behind your desk and on either side of your chair, create one more chair for the expert, whom we'll call the counselor, that you'll be inviting. But first you'll need a way to bring him or her into your laboratory. To do this, you'll need an imaginary elevator with a door. Elevator doors usually open from side to side, but yours moves down into the floor. You use this kind of door so you can start with the head as you slowly lower the door and create your counselor's body as you go. Control buttons are on the arm of your chair. It's suggested that you end your session at this point, 1 to 10 and 1 to 5, and wait a few hours before returning to your lab to create the counselor. This advisor or counselor can be an individual for whom you have respect. You should invite different counselors into your lab to help with different problems. They may be famous people in the physical world, people who are widely recognized for their accomplishments, or they may be people from your own life whose judgment you have come to trust. But regardless of their place in the physical world, your advisors are supremely gifted in every field during the times they are with you in your laboratory. Even though they may be less than geniuses in some areas in everyday life, in the mental laboratory, your higher self is in touch with their higher selves, and higher selves are in touch with unlimited intelligence. Here's how to go about bringing your counselor into your lab. First, consider carefully whom you want to select. Do not let a counselor appear spontaneously. Remember, you are in complete control. You make things happen. Once you have selected the identity of your counselor, go back to your laboratory by the same countdowns you have been using, 3 to 1 and 10 to 1. As you sit behind your desk, visualize what your counselor looks like. Imagine that he or she is waiting outside the door that you created. Now mentally invite him or her into the laboratory by slowly causing the door to open from the top down. When the counselor has entered, close the door behind him and have him sit in one of your chairs. Thank your counselor for coming and end your session in the usual 1 to 10, 1 to 5 way. From now on, whenever you enter your mental laboratory, your counselor will be there. Greet him or her, perhaps have a moment of silence, or even say a welcome prayer. Many Silva graduates use the most powerful prayer of their particular religion, as this assures them that they are prepared to do the greatest good. In your laboratory, you will become whatever you assign your counselors to be. If you believe that they are all-knowing and endowed with great wisdom, then that is how you will be at this dimension of mind. It's important to understand that you do not create the counselors to do your subjective work for you. They are created to work through you. It is you who is learning and evolving, and they are your guides in achieving your goals. The way to receive help from your counselor is by asking for the specific information you need. Maybe you want to help somebody with kidney stones and you don't really know what to do. After asking, disconnect. That is, start figuring out what to do. You may get the idea to crush the stones with your fingers. Do it. The idea came from your counselor. When you leave the laboratory, say goodbye to your counselor. Once again, many people choose to say a farewell prayer. Disengage your mind from the problem you have been working on. Let go. Because at the creative dimension, you've already solved that problem. The mental laboratory is your place to be creative in the highest meaning of the word. You should use it every day. If you've participated in all the exercises you've heard on these cassettes, you're well on your way to developing your subjective mental powers to the fullest. Please note that I didn't say listened to the exercises. I said participated in them. Participation is the key word because the Silva Method is truly a method for doing things and for making things happen. Now I'd like to propose 5 specific steps you can take after you've come to the end of these tapes so that you can continue your self-transformation. Step 1. You can attend the Silva Method Basic Lecture Series. This would be a very positive step for you to take toward making the most of your subjective powers of mind. Step 2. You can read the wide selection of books by and about Jose Silva and his work. These cover topics from healing yourself and others of physical problems to becoming more effective in your career. The books are available at any good bookstore. But as with every aspect of Silva training, simply reading the pages will not be enough to bring all the results you want. Putting the book down and doing the exercises is the key. Step 3. You can begin a 40-day self-training course to strengthen your intuitive and clairvoyant skills. As you've learned, the optimum time for working at your alpha level is when you first wake up in the morning. So that's when you should plan to implement this self-training. Here are the procedures you can follow. When you awaken in the morning, prop up your pillow so that you're no longer lying flat. Close your eyes, turn them slightly upward, and count down from 100. When you reach 1, tell yourself mentally, I am going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach 5, I will open my eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine, feeling better than before. Follow this procedure for the first 10 mornings. Then shorten your countdown, reducing it from 100 to 1 to 50 to 1. After 10 more mornings, reduce it again. Now you're counting from 25 to 1. Finally, on the last 10 mornings, count from 10 to 1. By this time, a 10 to 1 count will produce the same deep state of relaxation that 100-to-1 count produced at the start. This can be a substitute for or a procedure leading up to the 3-to-1 method used in these tapes and in the 4-day training. For all of the 40 mornings, when you reach the count of 1, you should end your relaxation session in the following way. Tell yourself mentally, I am going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach 5, I'll open my eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine, feeling better than before. And it will be so. Step 4. Just going to your alpha level every morning is highly beneficial. But you can take another step by adding to your morning countdown exercise, which will deepen your alpha level after you've reached the count of 1. For example, you can perform progressive relaxation by concentrating on specific parts of your body. Start at your scalp, relax it, then progress downward through your forehead, eyes, mouth, and so on. As you do so, you can mentally repeat an affirmation such as, each time I relax this way, I go deeper faster. Or you can visualize a peaceful scene that you recall. Make the mental pictures real. Feel that you are really there. And step 5. Remember that with your Silva training, you can benefit not only yourself but other people as well. A good way to do this is to engage in subjective conversation after you've reached your alpha level. Visualize the person you need to speak with and mentally communicate with that person. If there's a problem to be solved, identify the problem and suggest a solution. Keep in mind that the form of the mental message you send is important, because at the subjective level, your higher self is in touch with the other person's higher self. If you try to communicate in a hostile way, the adversarial tone will only lead to failure. Problem-oriented thinking brings problems, and solution-oriented thinking brings solutions. So to communicate effectively, avoid who is right in favor of what is right. You can continue to build on what you've learned in this program by following the 5 steps I've just suggested, and you can also create new steps of your own. If you do, you'll reap the benefits in every area of your life. Let's do a final exercise together, knowing that this is not the end, but rather the beginning of your daily alpha time on your own, improving your health, increasing your creativity, productivity, and income, harmonizing your relationships, and helping others to do the same. Here's Laura Silva to guide you through the first part of this exercise. In the second part, I'll ask you to go to the laboratory level to help with some planetary problems.